Hello lovely people, welcome to Brown Strings. I'm Henriette and today is day 7 of our guided practice in our Virtual Violin Practice Playalong series. It's lovely to see you here, and today we're going to continue with what we have started in our previous days. We're going to do some bow exercises, some left hand exercises. We're going to play a scale, and then we're going to continue with our improvisation practice. And today we're going to get a bit more serious about our improvisation. So let's get all your things together and let's get started. So let's begin by tuning up. Here is your A. An E. Here is your D string. And here is your G. Now today, again, we're going to practice our open string bowing. There's so much to learn from open string playing that we want to keep that into our practice as a good warm-up. And today we're going to do 4 times G, 4 times D, 4 times A, 4 times E, and then the same way back. So starting on E again, A, D and G. And today we're going to practice letting that bow go into the string again. And we want to stop the bow very briefly in the middle. So we're going to go 1 and. So we're just making 2 little curves in that bowing. So I'd like you to make sure that you go well to the point of the bow and also try to get all the way to the heel of the bow as well. So you don't want to shorten your bows and go like this. So when we play with long bows like that, you want to also stretch your bow arm forward. So when you finish this down bow, your bow is precisely parallel to the bridge. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. After 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play E again. Lovely. Now I'm just wondering, and perhaps you can update me on that in the comment section below, who of you have remembered to put their shoulders down before we started? So come on, be honest, write me a little note and say, oops, I forgot, or oh yes, of course I did, because I follow your instructions all the time. Okay, shall we just raise our shoulders and now drop them down, raise them again, drop them down so you become really aware of where your shoulders are. That's it. And now we'll play the exact same exercise again, keeping your shoulders down in their lowest position. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely, Joe, well done. So next up is our left hand exercise, and today we're going to do a bit of a fun exercise, and I want you to stick your thumb in the corner here of the fingerboard. So you can see my thumb is just going round a little bit and it's finishing there. That's where it is. And now my fingers are going to go up and over so that my pinky can reach the G string. If you can't quite reach with your pinky to the G string, try bringing your elbow a little bit further under. So you want to get that sort of movement going so that your fingers are completely up and above the fingerboard and well above the violin. And we're going to just pluck that G string like this 4 times, and then we're going to do with our ring finger, so with this finger, we're going to pluck the D string 4 times too. Lovely. And 4 times A, and your A string you pluck with your middle finger. And then we've got 1 finger left, our index finger for the E string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that again, shall we? 4 times, pinky on G. 1, 2, 4. Ring finger for D. Middle finger for A. And your index finger for the E string. Well done, very good. Give your arm a well-deserved rest, because some people don't find that so easy to go right the way around like that. So that is a very good exercise to practice, first of all, opening up your shoulders and bringing your left elbow under the violin, but it's also a good exercise for shaping your fingers and for making your fingers very strong, because you can, for instance, see if I do it like this, you can perhaps see that my finger has got a beautiful arch there, you see, and that is really what we're practicing. We're making our fingers strong, but we have got just the right position there. Now let's play our seesaw exercise as our bowing exercise for today. So I'm placing my bow in the middle on the G string, and I'm just going to gently lower my elbow so that my bow travels to the E string, and then I'm going to slowly move my elbow up. So keep this very, very slow so that you're always very aware of where your bow is. So we want to find that relationship between where your elbow is and where each of the strings are. And as you go along like that, can you check for me that your shoulder is nice and low? Great. And now I want you to do that one more time. Let's go from E to G, and then I want you to say the strings as soon as you hit them. So your eyes need to be here so that you can see when you're going from one string to another. So now I'm on E, and then I let my elbow come up very slowly, and then I'm saying, yeah, now I'm on A. Keep coming up. Now I'm on D. Keep going up. Now I'm on G. And do that again. D, A, E. And back again. E. Now I'm on A. That's D and that's G. And after a while you begin to feel where each of those strings are. And that is an awesome bit of progress if you can get there where you think, oh, I can feel which string is which. And it may well be that you think today, nah, I'm not getting it today. And that's perfectly fine, because we will do this exercise a few more times, I imagine. And that will feel more and more comfortable as you go along. Now then, today is an exciting day because we're going to be playing a D scale, and we need the D scale for our improvisation today. So let's see if we can remember all the notes of the D scale really properly. And even if you're a more advanced player, can you please also join us playing a D scale, although it can be your own version. So you might play a longer D scale, you might play D major or D minor, or you might play separate bows or slurred 2 or 3 octaves, whatever you fancy, so your own version. but I want you to have in your head really well all the notes of the D scale. If you are only just starting to learn the violin, or if you are very young, then come with me and we will do it together, and we'll play a D scale starting on the D string, and then we're going to go up to the third finger on the A string. Then we'll add our pinky at the top, and then we'll go all the way down again, and we're playing every note twice with long bows. So that was a whole lot of instructions. Check over your finger line, check over your thumb, check over your tennis ball. Check over your bow hold, check over your stance, so your left foot is forward a little bit, and I'll count us in. 3, 4. Lovely, very nice and even bowing there. I did like that. So next we're going to play the D major arpeggio, and we're going to aim for those really smooth bow strokes again. And I want you to see if you can come down into the string again, find that depth in your bowing onto the string. So lean into the string with your bow is another way of putting it maybe. And we're making the best sound you've ever made on your arpeggio. So ready? And that's what it is. Now let's think about the letter names of the notes you've just played. And the letter names of the notes of the D major arpeggio, I'll give you a moment to think about them and to say them out loud. So there you go. Say for yourself what you think the letter names are of the notes of the D major arpeggio. We're starting, of course, on a D. After that comes an F sharp, then comes an A, and the top note of the arpeggio is of course a D again. This arpeggio has been given its name D because it starts on a D and the top note is also a D. So our letter names are D, F sharp, A, top D. Now when we are improvising, and we're improvising in the key of D, and we're introducing that new idea today, we're going to be using only the notes that you find in the D scale or the D arpeggio. So that can be the notes D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp and D. Those are all the notes of the scale. Or it can be, and they can be quite prominent notes, D, F sharp, A and D. And you'll find when you improvise in the key of D, the D's will be clearly heard notes because they indicate which key we are in. So we're going to do our improvising and we're shortening our bits again. So we're going to do just 4 counts. And now I'm going to play you some notes of the D major scale. And I want you to have in your head precisely which notes they are. Okay, so I'm going to do you 4 counts and I'm going to do this. Can you play that after me? And D, 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 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. And now I might play something else which also uses the notes of the D scale. I'm going to start at the top this time. Your version, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. And now I can play some other notes again that are also in the D scale or the D arpeggio. I'm going to start on an open D again. Did you work that out? Shall I play it again? Your turn. D, 2, A, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3. So perhaps you may have noticed that I played a D arpeggio first. And then I played a section of the scale. But you've perhaps noticed that those notes altogether made up a very nice tune, as opposed to some random notes that we used to play when we were first starting with our improvisation. When we started it last week on days 1 and 2, we were only playing random notes like this. Whilst there is some sort of a melody, you can perhaps hear the difference that our melody is developing much better suddenly. And that is because we are thinking in the key of D major, and that is a smart way of saying we're using all the notes of the D scale and the arpeggio and no other notes. So you might, for instance, think we have said there is an F sharp and a C sharp in this piece. So if I played a B flat, for instance, that would sound horrible. So now listen to this, because there is one moment where I'm not playing a note that is in the D major scale or the arpeggio. You see, that suddenly is a very odd note. I'll show you what I did and then you can experiment with that for yourself. So I played a D arpeggio. D, F sharp, A, and now I added my B flat, which is low first finger. And now I finished on the D again. You have a go, see if you can work it out. D, 2, A, B flat, B flat, A, 3, 3, 3. You see? I might do another one which has a mistake in, although I'm always a little bit reluctant to talk about mistakes in improvisation, because anything goes in improvisation, isn't it? That's the beauty of it, that whatever you do is usually right. But since we're thinking within this key now, which brings our improvisation up a level, I call it a mistake in inverted commas. Now, let's listen out what I've got now. So I did the same thing. D, 2, A, 3, E, E, 3, 3, 3, 3. Now you might say, this doesn't sound as odd as that B flat that we had earlier. And that is correct, because the E that you played just now is of course part of the D major scale. If we have the scale here, it's the second note there. So an E doesn't sound too odd there, okay? Now I'll try and play you a proper improvisation using only the notes of the D scale and the D arpeggio, okay? See if you can play it after me. D, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, A, D. You see how that worked really beautifully? Now, I'd like you now, whenever you play your response to me, to see if you can play something else than what I have done. So far we've always done this imitation game, haven't we? So you copied what I just played, and now I want you to come away from the copying and I want you to decide for yourself which notes you want to play, but they must be part of the D scale or the D arpeggio. Okay, here we go. I'll make up a different one. Your version. Careful that you don't repeat what I just did, because we have been practicing that, so you will be very good at repeating. So now you might have played, if I played this, you could have played that, or I could have played this. And you could have answered this. See, that was 1D, 1D, A, D. We'll do one more and then I'll leave you to think about that one, okay? So now I'm going to start perhaps on the A string. And your answer may have sounded but there are about 10,000 other possible melodies that you could have played there. So long as you've used all the notes in the D scale and the D arpeggio, you have been right. And even there is one rule in improvisation. I don't know if I should tell you this, but if you keep it between us, if you make a mistake, then deliberately play that mistake again in your improvisation, so it starts to look that you always meant to play that note there, you see. Now we will come to talk about mistakes, and mistakes very much are in inverted commas here, because as I said, there are no mistakes in improvisation, although when you're learning it we have got some boundaries that we work within, okay. But I want you to try and experiment with that a little bit. And in the next lesson, in day 8, we're going to explore this idea a little bit further. So there's lots of exciting stuff to come. So make sure you join us in day 8. If you have lots of work set by your teacher now, I think most terms have started again. So do please, now that you've got your violin and your bow and your music out, do please play your own music now and make your teacher proud this week. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in day 8. Goodbye.